Welcome to Thursday Morning Conversations. I am Doodle Harris, Associate Pastor at Highland Pres right here. And today we have with us Robyn Sekula.
Hi.
Robyn is the chair of our Mission Study Committee, and we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. But I, for one, am glad to have Robyn here. On most days, she's one of the funniest people I know. So you've got a lot to live up to in the next 12 to 15 minutes.
Oh my goodness, okay.
Some other announcements before we get to talking with Robyn. Sign-ups for worship continue. You can find those on the Week at a Glance or the Facebook page. Sign up. There are some slots left for the rest of the Sundays in May. Also, sign up for our Porch Picnic Extravaganza. That'll be on May the 15th. The sign-ups are in the Week at a Glance. Bring your own chair and your own food. You'll be able to sit with friends or make new friends sitting on the patio, having your dinner together and remembering the things and the people you love about Highland Pres here on campus. Family Kickball is May the 23rd, Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. Robyn, are you coming to Family Kickball?
I will have to consult my calendar. I have an unfortunate legacy of being the person who was always picked last.
For kickball.
For kickball in school, so I have to discern whether or not God is calling me to come to Family Kickball.
Well, I hope you will do that, Robyn. You have about a week and a half, a couple weeks to discern that. Hope you'll consider coming too. And if you don't want to come and play, you can always just show up and sit in a chair with your pom-poms or however you like to cheer.
That's sounding a little bit more my speed.
And one final thing that we're trying new this month. Edie Tidwell, one of our longtime members, is leading a tour of Cave Hill Cemetery on May the 24th. You'll need to sign up for that online through the Week at a Glance or the Facebook page. But Edie will be leading us to see all of the different Highland saints that are buried in Cave Hill Cemetery. There's a lot of them, a lot of people who have made a difference in the life and history of this church. So if you would like to visit, pay your respects, say hello, there'll be an opportunity to do that on the morning of May the 24th. Look for that sign up. Before we get too far, birthdays. We have birthdays this week. Happy birthday, Pat Jarvis and Terry Sams and Martin Lowe and Rob Miller. Rob, he is the best communications coordinator this church ever has had.
Should we sing happy birthday to these people?
I'm not going to sing.
Okay,
Are you going to sing happy birthday, Rob?
Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. That's all God called me to do. I'm sorry.
So, hope you have a great one, Rob. Happy birthday, Kieran Brown, Susan Helm, Teddy Harrell, Ollie Millar, Jenna Tracy, Edie Massey, and Jean Jones. Jean, you were just outside a few minutes ago. I hope you had a good walk, and happy birthday this week to you, Jean. Okay, Robyn.
Yes.
Now we focus on you.
Thank God we finally got to this.
Tell me how long you've been at Highland and what you love the most about Highland.
Okay. Well, my husband Greg and I moved to New Albany, Indiana in 2002, I believe it was, and we were looking for a church. And I was Presbyterian, Greg's Catholic, and I was asking around what's a great Presbyterian church in the Louisville area, and the name that just kept coming up was Highland. So we came, we had a really good, welcoming experience. People were very gracious and very friendly, and we came for quite a while, and then officially I joined when I was pregnant with my oldest, Abby, who is now on session.
Wow, Robyn.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
It is a very long time.
So you had a good welcoming experience. Is there anything else that has stood out to you in that number of years that just you've loved, has warmed your heart?
I think the thing that I'm probably the most grateful for is the youth programming, because I've felt like that has been an anchor for my children, the children and youth programming. As we've moved through all the challenges of being an adolescent and then being a teenager, this church, their most consistent friendships are here. And if you think about it, they've known some of the children here that they are really close to. They've known them their entire lives. They've switched schools. We haven't moved, but they've certainly, their school friendships have changed, but these have been very steady. And of course, we had the same pastoral leadership for the children and youth programming. And I think all of that has been such a good powerful thing in their lives. And I'm really grateful for the staff as well as the volunteers. I know Kevin Burns has been an incredible influence on my kids, and they will say things at times that I will think, that is so intelligent and so smart and so knowledgeable. Where did you learn that? And they'll say, Kevin Burns taught me that.
Right.
So that has been really a really wonderful thing. And especially where I've really seen this is this past year. This past year, these friendships have been nurtured by virtual gatherings. And I'm so personally grateful for all of that.
Well, good. Your kids are some of the easiest kids also to love, to watch.
Good. You like to hear that, you know? Parent.
If I were allowed to have favorites, the Sekula kids would definitely be.
You're not allowed to have favorites. Did they not tell you this?
They told us in pastor school to have favorites, just don't tell people.
Well, I don't know what to tell. There's a video camera here.
It's true.
And people are watching this. So, see, and what, dear watchers, what I would hate to have happen for Doodle to say, well, you know, Robyn, I've been meaning to talk to you about your children. I'm really grateful that didn't happen here today.
I've had a few of those talks in my time.
I don't know, on video?
Not on
Facebook?
video, no.
Okay, well, that's for the best. See, she's smart. She doesn't normally do this stuff on video.
Well, thanks for those prompts. We are certainly grateful that your family is here. And
Thank you.
is it that time that you've been here, the wisdom that you've shared that has gotten you to be chair of the Mission Study Committee?
So the mission study process I thought was going to be a really interesting process. And while I've been at Highland before, when we've been in pastoral transitions, I've not been a part of the process. And I really like hearing lots of different opinions, and making sure that everybody feels heard is really very important to me. So Kent was looking for someone to be the chair, and I thought that I had the time to do that. Normally in my work, I travel a fair amount, and of course I'm not doing that right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm blending this extra time. And it's also a little easier to meet as a group because we're meeting on Zoom. So that's been very helpful. So we have been very fortunate to have Angie Andriot involved with us. Who
she's great.
She is, and she has a real gift for research and creating a survey for us and helping us read the results.
She's calling you a nerd, Angie, in case you're watching.
Angie, you're one of the most pleasant, creative nerds I've ever met. So
it's true.
Yeah, it is true.
I do love you, Angie.
Yeah. So and fellow redhead and fellow New Albanian.
Indiana's really showing up right now.
We really are. So yeah. So Andrew was going to do the survey. We were looking at hiring a consultant, and I'm very excited about the consultant. I think John Wimberly's really doing some great work and giving us good guidance.
Good. So you say you want to hear from everybody. How do people let you hear from them?
Sure. There are two ways.
Okay.
One is there's an online survey, and if you would like the link to that, you can find that on the church website. So please, absolutely be sure you fill that out. And when you go to this survey, it's supposed to take somewhere around 10 to 11 minutes. If you have lots to share, it might take you a little bit longer, but it's very well organized because of Angie's great work. And in this survey, we're asking you specific questions about Highland. What things are really important to you? Because Highland is a big church and we do a lot.
It's true.
So we ask questions about music and worship and youth programming and children's programming and our involvement with mission and ministry in Louisville and far beyond, and about Kentucky Refugee Ministries and all the various things that we do. So we want you to help us evaluate and prioritize what's really important to the church, because we want to be sure that the next leader that is called to Highland is someone who will really understand us. The best and most successful is not a great word, but I'll use it here because it works. The best and most successful pastoral leaders are people who really understand the congregation when they're coming in. And that's how that mission study process will inform him. So there's the survey and then him or her. And the other thing is that we are going to have focus groups. And the focus groups will be a little bit different. So these will be groups of ideally somewhere around maybe 10 people, maybe less, maybe a little more. And John Wimberly will lead those, and then there will be a note taker from the Mission Study Committee who will just make notes about what were the important themes or thoughts that were shared. So in all of this, remember that what we're primarily trying to get at is who are we as a congregation? Not so much about the staff, but it's more about the themes and the things that are important, because in the end, the people in the pews or watching at home are the congregation, and we're the ones who bear the responsibility in many ways for many of the ministries and things that we do as a church.
So what if I'm somebody who, because of the pandemic or because I've just not felt it, I hadn't kept up with the church so much in the past year. I haven't necessarily been watching all of the worship services. Like, do you want me to participate?
Well, I mean, Doodle, you're like a pastor. I kind of thought that was like implied.
I totally have been, everyone.
Okay, so yes, so we're aware that there are people who are maybe feel disconnected. We would say that maybe think back to 2019 and think back to the years that you have been with us previously. If you find that you're not particularly connected to us now, we understand that. We know a lot of people are feeling that way, and that's okay. This past year is just 1 year in the long history of our church and the service to the community. So don't judge too much by this past year. I mean, if there are certain things you want to share from this past year, it's welcome. But don't let the fact that you haven't been in the building in a year stop you.
That's helpful, thank you.
Sure.
So you said that one of the purposes of this is to give the new pastoral leadership some guidance, some knowledge. What else? Is there anything else we can learn from this? Or
I think that one of the things that these will help us, this information will help us do, is guide us towards, not only will it inform that new leader, but it will help us select the next pastor. So it will help us understand the kind of leader that the members of Highland want and expect. And I think that's probably the first way in which we will use the information.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to share about the mission study or anything else in general? Because you have all of Highland watching you right now. All of them.
All of them. This has been my dream for a long time. I think one of the things I'd like to pass on is so my day job is I work at the Presbyterian Foundation. I talk to a lot of pastors all the time. I have tons of pastors who are friends of mine on Facebook. I'm in some Presbyterian groups. I'm kind of a real Presbyterian nerd. And the thing that I hear from pastors all the time is they are exhausted. They are flat out exhausted. This past year has demanded things from pastors that they sometimes didn't know how to give or didn't know how to do. And they have been, and all of church staffs. I mean, think about how much Rob Miller's job has changed in the past year. And everybody is, of course, building this airplane while we're flying it. And I would encourage people to remember that and think about your own job situations if you're working and how much things have changed for you and how much you've had to learn. Your pastors have had to do that while also caring for the congregation where people have died at a higher rate, where they haven't been able to have funerals, where they've been very limited on hospital visitations, and it grieves them. So I think what I would say is if you can be encouraging to the staff, if you can find ways to appreciate staff and pastors, this is a good time to do that. Because while many of us are feeling refreshed because we're back in church, and today was that first service, the day that we're recording this, we were in the sanctuary, it was amazing. I felt refreshed and restored. I don't know how pastors, I mean, we need to appreciate the position we're in. We need to do everything we can to be sure that our pastoral staffs feel appreciated and loved. And that would be my message. Even if you don't go to Highland, wherever you go, just keep that in mind.
Thanks, Robyn.
You're welcome.
Could you come say that to us every day?
You can watch this every day.
I will. Yeah. Thank you for that. I mean it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm glad you've been here.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you for participating in the mission study. I can't wait to hear and see where God is calling us all next. I hope you will join us next week. Next week, I have our 3 most active high school seniors joining me for our Thursday morning conversation to hear about their hopes, their dreams, what God is calling them to next, and who God wants them to be. It should be a fun conversation just like this one.
Right, and I do want to add that both of us are vaccinated and we are past our 2-week point, and that's how come we can sit here and do this without masks.
Thanks, Robyn. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week.